Now, this is a tutorial to play phase ships for the average player. So not people that are really good, just people like me that are basically decent at the game. So you probably have seen a phase video where some guy destroys a lot of enemy ships or does something that seems impossible, and then you try a phase ship and you basically just get destroyed. I mean, I have been there many times until I figured out how it's done. It's not so difficult, it's just a different approach. And you have to keep in mind, I would say regular ships kind of scale regularly. So to get better, you put in an S mode and it gets a bit better, and you add better weapons. For phase ships, it's more like they work or they explode, unless you're really, really good. And there are several measures how you also can make them easier. So in this video, I try to show you how to get into the proper mindset of playing phase ships. And once you have basically your initial phase ship and the proper setup, you learn your basics and then you can go over to the other ships. And ironically, I think I learned and really enjoyed playing phase ships with the biggest one, with the Doom. And there's a simple reason for this, because it has basically an easy mode built in, because this is the only ship that can teleport mines. And mines can be extremely strong if you use them correctly. But it's not difficult to do. And you learn basically the basic way how to use phase ships. And once you have that done, you can go to the Shade, you can go to the Afflictor, and you can also go to the Harbinger. So first off, don't start with a phase ship. You need some basic skills to make them work properly. I personally think you need housemanship for the speed, because speed is life in a phase ship. Combat endurance is also very important, because since you're phasing out, the time changes and this reduces your peak time. Then there's field modulation, which you associate with shields, but it also generates less flux, as you can see here, minus 25%, and on elite, hard flux dissipation while shields are active is 20%, and the phase cloak cooldown is reduced by 50%, which allows you to phase in and out faster. And then there's of course phase cool tuning to give you a better top speed. Also, it unlocks the hull mods if you haven't found them yet, and also peak operating time. Particularly with the Doom, and for the mines, if you really like them, later on system expertise makes it really OP. Because you get one extra charge, the regeneration rate of the charges is higher, so you get 6 mines and they regenerate faster and 50% more range. Which basically means, yeah, you can do a lot of damage with the Doom. Now for the design. Very important. Capacitors are more important than vents on phase ships. Why? The capacitors regulate how long you can be phased. Now hull mods, very important. There are 2 phase hull mods. Adaptive phase coils and phase anchor. Now some people will tell you that phase anchor is the better one. And I say it depends. If you're a really good player and you build a phase ship for hit and run and you know what you're doing, phase anchor is better. But if you're new to this, use adaptive phase coil. Why? Because adaptive phase coils guarantee a longer and better top speed. And speed, movement, is what saves you from dying. Once you have it figured everything out, you can go to phase anchor. I still don't do it. Phase anchor is, while some of the good players recommend it, is because your weapon recharge rate is way higher when you are phased. So what they do is they phase in and out and recharge their weapons and then hit again. So this is for maximizing basically DPS, but also if you're really good and know what you're doing. You need to be a good pilot, you need to be good at positioning and everything else. We average players, we don't know how this works. Let's put it that way at the beginning. Once you figure it out, you might, but for now, we stick with this. So we put in that one. Then we immediately max out capacitors. For more capacitors is flux coil adjunct. And ideally we build it in as well, because then we get another bonus here. We see, yeah, we get another 600. Now in the Doom, you see a lot of hard points, and you just want to put weapons everywhere. Don't do this. We are building a mine Doom, so we put as few weapons as possible there. But first, let's continue with the helmets. What you want is heavy armor, because you don't have shields and you will take hits. So heavy armor is what you want to go for. And speed. Now we can go with safety overrides and unstable injector here, because it's really optimized now for basically having almost no weapons. And we also build in heavy armor. This decreases maneuverability. That means turn rate, but also isolation and de-isolation. But it gives us 20 more points, and we really want that. So the next thing I usually put, ion pulses, sorry. You have to get rid of them here. So here you can go, I mean, anything what you like, basically. I generally recommend going with a Reaper launcher. And we're already, because we take safety overrides and unstable injector, we have very little points left. So the other thing is with weapons. So it's all about positioning in a phase ship. And you don't actually want to care too much about aiming. So I usually recommend setting most weapons to auto fire. And then you just dephase and phase out again. So that DI fires basically for you. Because you're going really close, you basically aim your hard points. So in this case, they're actually turrets. And everything is fired off. Or when you think, okay, it's too dangerous, then you phase out again and you drive away ideally. If you're really good, or if you're confident with manually aiming and firing particularly, you can also do this. But it's usually easier because then you have to care only about one weapon mostly. So that's the other way to make it easier to get in the whole, let's call it phase game. Now, if we use safety overrides, we kind of need also, where is it, hardened subsystems. So in that case, I forgo the launcher and I go with hardened subsystems. Now this would be a really focused build. Here I did one a bit simpler. So also the question is, why ion pulses? Ion pulses do quite a lot of damage and they basically stun the enemy. So ideally you show up behind the ship, you decloak, you fire in its engine, it flames out and it's a sitting duck. If you're using, for instance, the Harbinger, it can also be used to basically disable the weapons of an enemy. I show you the basic way how you can use this build now. This is now without a captain. So let's test it without a captain. Let me take a look. The deployment costs are actually 35. So let's face a fleet. Carriers are actually not that dangerous in general, but for phase ships they are quite dangerous. So let's take on 2 hammerheads, a Sunder and 3 carriers. So that's 11 points, 41 points, 61 points. This is not a strong enemy fleet, but it's decent enough. So let's gonna try this. Keep in mind we wanna So one great strength of the Mine Strike is this. It takes out fighters and bombers. And you particularly wanna, ideally, when they're still deployed. So here the first carrier is already in really bad shape and goodbye. So you kill ideally one, and you saw I just flew basically through the middle of the formation. Oh, these are salamanders. I thought they were hammerheads. Wow. Now we have to wait. Now if you're damaged, you ideally phase sometimes because time passes faster. So you're also faster repaired. But I just want to reduce flux here and let's see. Yeah. And we're full in action again. So if you're really careful, you always wait that you have like 5 mine charges again up before you do your next run in. And usually keep in mind you have your own fleet to distract the enemy a bit. So he has now to decide in which mine does he crash in. And some of these mines, yeah, and he is now ready. But he might make it out without, oh, almost. Well, let's see. But I'm now in a bad situation, so this was not ideal. So if these were hammerheads, I might have been in a bit more problems. So let's get out. Okay, here harpoons are coming. And you basically bye-bye. You can also put burst defense lasers, point defense there, which I usually do on a more balanced build, but this is basically just the speed build. Okay, can we do this properly? Yes! See this? So the Condor got some problems now, and probably a few more. And another carrier down. And what you can also do, if they follow you, drop a mine in front of them. This is particularly helpful for ships that have a burn drive. Okay. So now let's do a bit of flanking. Ah, no. I was hoping they were driving through here. But yeah, it's not necessary. And now he has a problem because he's open here and, well, it's overdriven. Probably got a flame out as well. Oh no. Question is, should I do it manually? Yeah, let's try this. Oh, I didn't switch to, yeah. So what you can do is if you have only one weapon slot, I usually use the first weapon slot to be manual and a weapon I want to control. But I have only one weapon slot and I select the second one which has no weapons on them. But then it will auto fire and still show you the arcs. These are salamanders, I think. We need to await the harpoon. And yeah, they should be running out now. Oh, the Zund already had a slightly damaged in the front. Oh, that was wrong. That was wrong. I thought I was phased out. Not phased. Yeah, this was a problem because I couldn't phase enough. Past, I think if I had an officer, well, a skill, yeah, with field modulation, for instance, elite, I would have been able to phase out again. You particularly can see if you're used to playing phase and you start a new game and you use a regular build for your phase ship and suddenly nothing works anymore, then you can actually see how much is the skills and the setup make up for actually capabilities. Okay. Okay, let's finish this. Yeah, that didn't work out. Yeah, sometimes that happens. So let's discourage Condor from following us. Alright, here we just take the damage. We don't want to take the harpoons though. Oh, I actually just wanted to drive him away. Yeah, as you can see, oh, down on combat readiness already, even with... But I guess one hammerhead less, yes. And now we need to get the sun off our backs. Yeah, now we have the problem of very low combat readiness, which will lead to various failures of our ship soon systems. And, well, the Sunder is a glass cannon. I really like it as an enemy. Engine malfunction. And yeah, this is now a bit of a problem, but usually you shouldn't be there. With proper skills, of course, combat readiness would be higher. Be very careful, by the way, about your own mines, because they can do a lot of damage. Yeah, and goodbye, Condor. So now I set up this for this particular tutorial, but this is, for instance, what I usually use currently in my campaign. So this is a bit more of an active gameplay. So let's use a Harbinger against a Hammerhead, a Condor, and an Eagle. Let's see how we're doing. So this is with my Captain now, and also with 2S mods. And this is a very different playstyle, which is basically what I acquired after I used the Doom for a while. So the question is what we go first. I think in this we try to cripple the Eagle. And here we go. It's flame out, it's sitting duck. Which is important because next we want to deal with the Condor. And for this, so I aim at it now. And then I press already the disruptor key. And I shoot it up. And now you can see I have soft flux up. It's going down. Here is now a missile coming, and I'm gonna go for taking a bit of damage to get some distance. And also using the auto fire. So I'm a safe distance. I'm fluxing out. I'm venting. And let's do this again. So we flame them out. The Condor is spamming missiles. We aim for it, activate the disruptor, and okay, here I couldn't cloak and took the missile because all the guns were firing and I had too high flux. So I pressed X for holding fire, so that I could do this. I'm now deactivating holding fire. And this time we just go by the Eagle and finish off the Condor first, as you can see, because his fighters get too annoying and I don't want to increase the flux for... And if you position yourself right, yeah, the Eagle can't do much anyway. And goodbye. And off we go. So, one fighter left. And it's time to finish the Eagle. So alternative builds would be like with Heavy Blaster. For doing more damage, so particularly against ships like these, where there's an opening in the shields, you can do more damage with weapons that are not ion based, or doing EMP damage. But also you can make them really fast, make them sitting ducks. So if you have, for instance, a slow fleet that has problems like, because Eagles await them all the time, because they backtrack, you just put out one on flame out and your fleet finishes them up. And here, keep in mind, you regenerate everything faster when you're in phase space, because time passes faster. So you're reloading your weapon, your iron pulsar way faster, so with the charges. And you can of course put expanded magazines on there to have a higher amount of ammo available. So there are many combinations. This is just one setup, because I think this is universally one of the better ones, or because it works against various ships. So alternative weapons would be like phase lance, heavy blaster. You can put 3 heavy blasters there. Firstly, for a long time I didn't use any point defense weapons on my builds for phase ships because I phased out. Now I actually prefer them. It depends, you know, on your playstyle. You can try it out. But the basic thing is that you get your base skills, your 4 to 5 base skills. I have it ideally then two built-in hull mods with S mods and max out capacitors that you can stay in phase space as long as possible. And then that's how it goes. And then if you have a complete fleet, it's even better. Yeah.